Kirsten, let me peel this back a little bit, talk a bit more about you if I can. Your background, you talk about being raised Episcopalian, you're an atheist. We did a program not long ago, John, with a woman who grew up in a pastor's home and went off to an Ivy League university, became an atheist, and was one of the debaters. It was really a good program. If you didn't hear it, download it at focusonthefamily.com. Yeah. She was very candid about that experience as an atheist, and then later became a Christian because she found emptiness in atheism. She said there are a lot of just mean people being mean to each other that all thought they were smarter than each other. I don't mean to denigrate anyone, but in that context, you lived it. What was that journey like for you going through that religious experience?
Yeah. I mean, my story is very different in that way because I was not looking for it. Last thing in the world I wanted to be was a Christian, honestly. And I'd grown up as Episcopalian, but not evangelical or in any way or born again or any of those kinds of things. It was very high church, kind of mainline Protestant Episcopalian. And I did believe in God, but it wasn't anywhere near what would sort of come to happen to me, I guess. Went away to college. Whatever little faith I had, I lost. Ended up graduating from college. I worked in the Clinton administration. All my friends were secular, liberal. So I really got even more deeply into just an incredibly secular world. And now all my friends were basically atheists, or if they had any kind of spirituality, they were very hostile towards religion, Christianity in particular. So I didn't really have any interest in it. And I started dating somebody who went to Tim Keller's church, Redeemer Presbyterian in New York
Tim's
City.
a good friend.
And I, out of curiosity, went with him. But I told him up front, I'll never become a Christian. It's never going to happen. And I went to his church. And I'd say in about a year, probably in like 6 or 7 months, I started to think, the weight of history is more on the side of this than not. I started to just sort of see that, this is not even he'd made such a strong case that I just intellectually actually felt like it's not even smart to reject this. It just doesn't seem like a good intellectual decision. So I think I sort of nominally thought, I'm like that, but I'm not one of those crazies, And then I... Really, it was just sort of like God sort of invading my life. It was very unwelcome, and I didn't like it. And, all of a sudden I started having a lot of different experiences where I just felt, God doing a lot of things in my life. It's kind of hard to describe, but I did just have this moment of the scales falling off of my eyes and just saying, it's just totally true. I don't even have any doubt.
I think all of us that are Christian understand exactly what you're saying because we go through similar experiences.
Rather than what I would have thought it would be like, which is, the clouds part and the angels sing, and it's all so wonderful. It was horrible because all of a sudden I thought, well, what am I supposed to do now? I don't know. I don't want to be one of these people, and I'm not a Republican, and I don't want to. I just had nothing in common with them, and I didn't know any Christians, and so I was really quite freaked out and really resisted it, frankly, for a while. And I thought maybe I'm having an episode or some sort of bad, I really thought this is like a phase and it's going to pass. And so I did have, I knew a couple people, actually. One of them was Eric Metaxas, was one of my first Christian friends.
Author of Bonhoeffer.
Yeah. So he was friends with the boyfriend who took me to Redeemer. And so I knew him before I was a believer. So I called Eric up, and Eric was very helpful. And so I started to make friends, and it took me a couple years, really, to kind of accept it. My family didn't.
And it sounds, Kirsten, by the way, this is Kirsten Powers you're listening to on Focus on the Family with Jim Daly. I'm John Fuller. And it sounds like the kind of courage that enabled you to really come to Christ and embrace that which you said you would never, ever do really was similar to what you needed to have when you went after this story.
See, I don't really feel like I have any courage. It's interesting when you say that. And even when describing when I became a Christian, I just gave in. It wasn't courageous. I didn't have any choice. I kept trying to not believe, and I couldn't avoid it. It was, if I could have avoided it, I would have. There's nothing convenient about it in my life, in the world that I live in. It's not like living in the South or living somewhere where everybody's a Christian. I live in a world where nobody's a believer.